Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking the absolute foundational principle of Napoleon Hill's legendary classic, Think and Grow Rich. Now, if you've ever found yourself wondering what actually separates the people who just kind of dream about success from those who go out and achieve it on a massive scale, well, you are definitely in the right place. We aren't talking about luck today, not at all. We're looking at the exact mechanics of turning an invisible thought into cold, hard reality. This book isn't just some random collection of opinions. It's actually the result of 25 years of relentless research, commissioned by the great industrialist Andrew Carnegie himself. Hill analyzed literally hundreds of the wealthiest individuals in the world just to find one common denominator. And according to Hill, all achievement, the whole shebang, starts with a single highly potent state of mind. Not family money, not a genius IQ, but a very specific mental state. So let's kick things off with a pretty fascinating historical puzzle. How exactly does a guy with zero influence, practically zero formal education, and absolutely no money become the right-hand business partner of the greatest inventor on Earth? We're talking about a man who, at first glance, looked like he just rolled out of a ditch, but in his own mind, he thought exactly like a king. Section 1, Partnering with Thomas Edison, the story of Edwin C. Barnes. To really picture this ultimate state of mind, we have to meet Edwin C. Barnes. His goal wasn't just to get a job fetching coffee for Thomas Edison. No way. He wanted to be his business partner. But he had two massive hurdles right out of the gate. He didn't know Edison, and he couldn't even afford the train ticket to New Jersey. Now, 99% of people would have quit right there, but not Barnes. He traveled blind baggage, which means he literally stowed away on a dangerous, dirty freight train just to get himself physically to Edison's laboratory. When Barnes finally stood before Edison, looking, well, completely disheveled, he just boldly announced he had come to go into business with him. Edison later noted that while Barnes looked like an ordinary tramp, the expression on his face conveyed an absolute, unyielding determination. Edison gave him a menial, low-paying job, but Edison's genius was in recognizing a man who had clearly made up his mind to stand by his goal until he succeeded. For months, Barnes did basically unimportant grunt work. To everyone else around the lab, he was just another cog in the giant Edison machine. But in Barnes's own mind, he was Edison's partner every single minute of every day. He just kept intensifying his desire, quietly waiting in the wings. And eventually, opportunity slipped in through the back door, disguised as a clumsy, struggling new product, the Edison dictating machine. Edison's own seasoned salesmen, they actually hated this new machine. They thought it was practically impossible to sell. But Barnes, he saw his opening. He pitched Edison, got the contract, and marketed it with such ferocity across the nation that it resulted in a multi-million-dollar business alliance. It even birthed this legendary slogan, made by Edison and installed by Barnes. Think about that. He quite literally thought his way into a fortune. Moving on to Section 2, Wish versus Burning Desire, the core concept. So, what does this all mean for us? Hill extracts a really profound core theory from Barnes's massive success, the stark difference between hoping for something and obsessing over it. Hill proposes that a simple wish will never bring riches. I mean, let's be real. Everyone wishes for money. Wishing is passive. What actually moves the needle is a pulsating, definite obsession that transcends everything else in your life. Barnes didn't just hope things would work out, it was a white-hot obsession that dictated his every move. Which brings us to Section 3, Burn All Your Ships, the mindset of no retreat. Okay, but how do you actually reach that required fever-pitch state of obsession? Well, Hill says you must adopt a mindset of absolute no retreat. He uses this incredibly powerful historical metaphor of a great warrior who sailed his armies to an enemy's shores. Once the soldiers were unloaded, the warrior gave a shocking order: burn the very boats that had brought them there. As the ships went up in flames, he told his men they had no choice. They win or they perish. With their retreat reduced to ashes, they fought with a burning desire to survive. And guess what? They won. And just like that ancient warrior, Barnes told himself he would stake his entire future on his one single goal. He didn't say, I'll try this out, and if Edison doesn't promote me, I'll go get a sales job elsewhere. No, he left himself absolutely no safety net. There was no plan B. It was either become Edison's associate or perish trying. Let's look at Section 4, the 6 practical steps, the actionable blueprint. Now, you might be thinking, it's one thing to talk about a burning desire philosophically, right? But Hill actually translates these abstract ideas into actionable mechanics. Originally provided by Andrew Carnegie and stamped with approval by Edison himself, here are 6 definite, practical steps to transmute a burning desire into its physical or financial equivalent. Keep in mind, this isn't about working yourself to the bone. It's about conditioning your mind. So, the absolutely crucial element of the first and third steps is absolute definiteness. Hill stresses you must fix the exact amount of money you want in your mind and a specific date by which you will acquire it. Saying I want plenty of money is completely useless. Your mind needs a highly specific, measurable target to aim at. Otherwise, it just gets easily distracted. Then, step 2 demands that you recognize a fundamental, undeniable law of nature. There is literally no such reality as something for nothing. You must clearly determine exactly what service, merchandise, or value you intend to give in return for the money you desire. Wealth doesn't just magically appear out of thin air. Money is merely the physical receipt for the value you provide to others. All right, steps 4 and 5. These require you to create a definite plan and begin immediately, whether you feel ready or not. Action is non-negotiable here. Then you take all of these elements, the exact amount, the deadline, what you are giving in return, and your plan, and you write it all down into a single, concise statement. This written manifesto essentially becomes your ultimate roadmap. Section 5. Transmuting desire into reality. The daily habit. Finally, we reached the 6th step, and Hill claims this is by far the most critical instruction for saturating the subconscious mind. Reading the statement just isn't enough on its own. You must read it aloud every single morning and every single night. But here's the catch. You can't just passively drone through the words. You must mix genuine emotion into it. You have to visualize, feel, and truly believe you are already in possession of your goal, basically tricking your subconscious into making it a reality. Hill insists that this daily habit, building what he calls a money consciousness, is basically the intangible armor that makes you immune to temporary defeat. It's like a signature of commitment on a contract with yourself. When defeat inevitably knocks you down, this conditioned state of mind ensures you rebuild your plans rather than quit. It's the exact armor Edwin C. Barnes wore while he was sweeping floors for Edison. So, as we wrap up this explainer on Napoleon Hill's foundational principle, the blueprint is crystal clear, but the required commitment, it's steep. Take a look at your current goals right now and ask yourself honestly, is what you are chasing just a casual hope, a vague wish for a better life? Or are you truly willing to burn your ships, cut off all retreat, and turn that desire into an all-consuming obsession?